Hello and welcome to another episode of the Best You interview series. It's Gary here. Again, thank you very much, as always, for taking the time to tune in. And today I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by David Fastuca, who is here to discuss how to remain resilient during the roller coaster ride of building your own business. And the roller coaster is my words, not David's words. We'll get to David's more eloquent words when he gets a chance to speak. David started his entrepreneurial journey at just 12 years old, and ever since then has been obsessed with turning pressure into productivity. As the CEO and co-founder of Growth Forum and former co-founder of Locomote, David learned what it takes to scale a business under pressure. Quite simply, he knows the challenges that founders face in juggling endless tasks while also being relied upon to prospect new leads, close deals, be everything to everyone at every single moment in time. And that's why David and his team have built their Sales OS program, which is a step-by-step blueprint for rapidly growing your sales while slashing your working hours. Their goal is to equip you with the strategies and tactics that have helped countless businesses grow and thrive, even amidst challenging economic times and conditions. David is also the co-author of the B2B Sales Playbook book with Luigi, I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong, please forgive me, Luigi, Prestinenzi. Prestinenzi?
You got it.
Brilliant. Which provides a detailed guide to building an effective framework using their V.I.S.I.O.N methodology, which we'll talk about in a wee bit here. It emphasizes transforming sales from the transactional to actual value-driven processes, which offers strategies to adapt in a competitive market by aligning buyers' needs, fostering trust, and delivering consistent outcomes through structured systems and actionable insights. David, thank you very, very much for joining me today.
That was an epic intro. Thank you, Gary.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So, really interested to kind of take it back. You obviously started your entrepreneurial journey quite early in your life, and then took those learnings from your 12-year-old David to today's David. And what parts of your journey were material in terms of getting to a spot where you realised that your passion was for sales, and particularly B2B sales? For folks that don't know B2B, business to business, just in case. But what was the passions and the journey that took you there?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you say that, like my background and my, let's call it trade, what I went to university for, was design. Love design. Ever since I was a young kid, loved drawing, but to enable me to, take on projects to earn a living, back then it was pocket money, now it's to earn a living, was I needed customers, whether it be family, friends in the early days to now people who, effectively don't know you and want to invest in you for your product or services. You need to sell yourself. So it was one of those things where they don't teach you in school. It's something where you need to find out for yourself and do a lot of self-learning, whether it be via courses, books, mentors, and the like. So it was something that was what felt like a bit of a black art, but through a bit of intuition, bit of research, once I figured out my sort of methodology and my process of selling, it enabled me to then, get my service and my product out to more people. But then it was more like, if I can help others unlock that key into how they can promote and sell themselves so they can do more of what they like, that's a pretty cool thing to do.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And so interesting in terms of what you did and didn't get taught in school, regardless of what your path was or your trade was at that particular time, and knowing fairly early on that there's a genuine human connection element to that there. And just as you were talking, I was thinking about my first employment was as a we call it in Scotland a paper boy, and I'm not sure what it's called, in Australia and the rest of the world. And I had a paper round, and over time, I was doing it for quite a long time, and then I would have customers cancelling. And I would go back to the shop and speak to the owner saying the customer cancelled, they just paid for the papers for this week and they don't want them anymore. And he would be kind of, well, what did you say to them? Like, what did you do? So instantly it's kind of my fault. They didn't receive a service. And then what did you do to try and keep them? And I thought, like, they were quite clear about the fact that they wanted to cancel. But at the moment, in that very moment, I'd kind of switched from, it's a 12, 13, it's a 13-year-old boy talking to an adult. The adult's trying to be as polite as they can be. To literally, I recall saying to myself, you need to be the best version of yourself right now to give them a good cancellation experience, because you just don't know who they're going to be speaking to, and you might tug on a heartstring, and they would be like, you know what, actually, maybe we'll stay on. But it was never about any sort of transaction or any offence taken or any personal insult or slight. It was just kind of saying, let's make this as good as we possibly can with the information and the experience that we're having collectively right now. And I have no idea why that spurred that example for me, but just when you mentioned the communication and the connection and the kind of the realization that that's going to be something materially important for you going forward, that's dynamite. That's gold dust right there.
Yeah, and that's what a great experience at a young age you would have received then, right? Dealing with that right at the cold face.
Yeah.
It's like old door-to-door type sales, but you're dealing with, instantly the negative. They're either receiving the product and happy or wanting to cancel out. So, yeah, good callus building back then, right?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So as someone, as a double founder, you know pressure, you thrive under pressure. What strategies would you recommend for fellow entrepreneurs to maintain productivity during the times of pressure and stress, and not let that stress lead to any sort of other negative connotations, burnout, lack of desire, failure, etc.?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? So I like to look at it as phases. So as a founder, entrepreneur, business owner, you go through phases of growth within the business. Year one, it comes with a lot of challenges. There is so much to do, right? And just basic bones stuff, logo, get your company set up, email, like there's like 1,000 things. And then once you get past year one, then it's, getting your foundational, well, not even past year one, but like you're building out your foundational customers. You're probably still working on your product and service, working out your pricing model, what's going to work, what hasn't, tinkering with your product and service to ensure it brings value. So it's just a plethora of things you need to do. And it can quickly become overwhelming and all-consuming. And you can literally work 24 hours a day.
Definitely.
Now, if you're single, no partner and that, then obviously you can add a lot more time to it. But if you have a partner, have children, have other responsibilities, you can quickly sort of put those aside, right or wrongly, and focus on the business, because you have so much to do, and quote unquote you're doing it for them, right? So you can easily justify it. But my sort of method and what sort of tames myself down, even now, so we're in year, just about to encroach onto year 2 within Growth Forum. I'll just have a list, really simple, and go, cool, what am I taking on today? And bit by bit, just chip away at it. Yep, whatever the high priority things are, they're going to move the needle today. I'll do those first. Then I've got a backlog of things that, things I need to do, but aren't super important. I'll do them in my downtime, whether it be in between calls where I don't need a lot of focus. They're just really mundane sort of stuff. And then just chip away. It's like going to the gym, trying a new routine, or trying to, lose body fat. It doesn't happen overnight. It's like half a kilo a week, something like that. And you just chip away. And then compound that over a year, you've progressed quite a lot.
Yeah.
So it's just to digest that and not think that you have to do everything right then and now.
Yeah. And in terms of, this is brilliant timing in terms of where you're at in the business. How do you build in those, stop, take stock, let's celebrate the wins, let's see where we're at, let's see what information we have now that we didn't have then, and use that for the benefit of us going forward? How do you purposely build that in?
Yeah, like I've been really crap at celebrating the wins. It's always like, cool, we've done this milestone, next.
Yeah.
I remember in Locomote, my cousin and I, Ross, we talk about it a lot, where there was something where we had the end goal in mind. And while we achieved some amazing things throughout that time, it was always, okay, cool, that was great. Next.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, it would have been great to, have spent more time to celebrate those things, take a photo of the moment so you have those memories captured.
Yeah.
So it's really important to celebrate it where you win your first big name customer,
Yeah.
or someone he's a repeat customer, which means, you retain them. Awesome. Celebrate that.
Yeah.
To really capture those moments. It's something that Luigi and I are doing now. Quote unquote, like the book launch that we're doing. I wasn't going to plan like a live event for it, but Louis like, this is a big moment. We should celebrate it.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, it's great. That's great, because who knows if we'll ever write another book.
Yeah.
So let's celebrate that. And that event is not for anyone else apart from more ourselves to celebrate the effort that we're putting to it. So I think it's critical. It just gives you that extra momentum.
Yeah.
I'm progressing. I deserve a little win, a little celebration. And it doesn't have to be a party or anything. It could be just, great, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to take half a day off, or I'm going to go grab that, T-shirt I've been eyeing off. Something to reward yourself for the effort that you've put in, for the work you've done, and now plan for the next stage.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love it. So you mentioned, or I mentioned during the bio, in terms of the importance of sales. And, sales are the lifeblood of any business. You could have the best idea, the best foundation, the best processes. If you're not making any sales, it's not going to go very far quite quickly. I would suggest, how does your Sales OS program that I mentioned earlier help entrepreneurs build that resilience into their sales strategies?
Yeah, so the way it works, and if I probably take a step back from that, like how, we've formulated this Sales OS plan. So when I was in Locomote, version 2. So version 2 is we built and sold the company up. We exited to a company called Travelport. Then during COVID, obviously tough time for many industries, but absolutely decimated travel, because not only people couldn't travel, if they had, travel in lieu, so like travel coming up, they cancelled that and then had to get a refund, right? So it was like a double whammy for the travel industry. So during that time, it was 2021, my cousin and I, we bought back the company. And we never thought we'd go back into business travel. Personally, I was never passionate about the travel industry. I'd never been on a business trip in my life prior to Locomote, because I'd always worked for myself. So it was just like traveling or like going on a trip to see a customer. We thought, this is a second chance. And we had sort of two options. Either do we retain the product and the IP and try and flip it for a quick sale, or those that we would want to sell it to are struggling right now, so we just have to hold on to it and ride out COVID. Or do we try and reignite the business and try and fulfill our original vision and get some sales through the door, even though people couldn't transact? If we could build a book of customers that were on the platform, and once COVID eased, and hockey stick out of it. And I said, this time I'm going to enlist the help of Luigi. So I've known Louis for a long, long time. We didn't get the chance to work with each other in Locomote V.I.S.I.O.N. I said, I'm getting him to help me with this, because how the heck do I sell business travel during COVID when people just didn't give a crap about it, because it was just super low priority. So getting to the point here, right? So what we did was we really refined our ICP. So the ideal customer profile, who it is that we traditionally sell to, and who it is that we sell to now. And what I mean by now is because the whole travel space changed. So it's something that when people build out their ideal customer profile in a document, and then their buyer persona, they do it, they spend time, and then it just sits in the library and collects dust within the business. So it's something that you should regularly look at as you talk to the people and the persona that you're selling to, and make adjustments to it based on the data inputs that you get. So you really become super close to that person, closer than potentially your competitors. So we were selling to chief financial officers, and traditionally they would care mainly about the pricing of things. But now it became about the risk. What is the risk to my employees once that, they start traveling again? So we worked on the persona. We then worked on our messaging. right? Which was, changing from financial to then the risk. So we changed the messaging component. Then we built out our outbound cadence. So everything that we teach within Sales OS is about outbound, meaning that you're going to the audience direct, and it may be cold rather than them coming to you.
Right.
And the reason we heavy and predominantly teach outbound is because as a business owner, that is the one thing you can really control. You can control your activity for the effort that you do in that outbound efforts to generate customers for you. And once you start to do, a few weeks of this and start to get results, then it is the one and only thing that you can really forecast and say, okay, if I do this activity for 2 hours a day, an hour a day, whatever it is, I can generate X amount of bookings onto my calendar. I can get X amount of proposals out, and then out of those proposals that are out with those potentials, then I can close X. Then you can sort of start to forecast out. All right. So then we built this playbook out of that. I executed the play. It worked really well during that time. So I built a $150 million pipeline. And once COVID eased out, then I was able to convert a good majority of those into paying customers. So, but there's a whole process in Sales OS. It's not just getting that book call onto your calendar. It's what is the framework to manage that first meeting with them? What do you do after the first meeting? How do you nurture them to, the second meeting or third meeting, depending on what it is you sell? And then how do you then provide insight through to closing the deal? So it's that whole front end as well as back end framework that we, together we help build, and then we coach and train the individual to execute on that. And then if they have a team, we're doing the same thing with them because every person is different. And then if they need the assistance, then we can help install some of our people that we train into their company, because the founder typically is not the person that really wants to be leading the charge on sales. Some do. But if it's not something they want to do, it's like, okay, well, you need to put in the sets and reps first to ensure that this playbook works. So that you have now earned the right to hire someone that with a high level of confidence that they're going to execute because you've done it yourself. The playbook works. And now you can enable them to win. And that's a win-win for both of you, both for you as the business and for that individual. Because what we see time and time again is that, the founder just hustles their way through, makes a few sales. They might be doing a couple $100,000, $1 million just for pure grit, over the 2 years or whatever it is they've been working on it, and go, okay, I'm done with that. I'm just going to hire some people now to come take over that. But don't enable them. Don't give them the right frameworks, guidance, coaching, and training to enable them to hit their KPI. So that, in essence, I had to give that backstory. Was basically what Sales OS is today.
That's tremendous. Based on the experiences you had prior to and during COVID, sounds like it's a much more robust product in and of itself because of those experiences. And I loved what you said also about the coaching and the training as well. So it's not just here's some software, follow these processes and we guarantee your ongoing success. You mentioned each salesperson is different, each customer is different, each industry is different. There's different behaviors, different politics, different practices, different procedures, and different nuances. So that ability to go in and learn a little bit more about your customer, learn a little bit more about the customer base they're trying to serve, and then tailor the coaching and training. Is that the typical wherewithal for you folks?
Yeah, like there was the old sort of saying of, ABC, always be closing, right? Which is, the really aggressive approach. We've got a term ABL, always be learning. Right? Because your learning journey is never done. We've got some people within Grow Forum who are just absolute weapons, just top of President's Club, number one. And anyone would say that they would have the arrogance where they don't need the training. But the counter to that is because they do the constant training, because they're constantly reviewing what they've done over the month and getting Luigi and I involved to review their messaging, review what they're doing on a regular basis, they're able to stay number one. It's those ones that are always willing to learn and adapt. And sometimes they just need to hear something that they already know for them to trigger like, oh, I've just let that real basic thing just slide. And that's why I've been losing deals. Great reminder, right? And now they're back into the flow. So sales and marketing, it's just not something that you can learn once and then apply. It is changing now faster than ever. With obviously the advancements in AI, it's, what is ethically right for, AI to do versus where a human needs to come in.
Mm-hmm.
We're big believers that AI is amazing, obviously, and it should be an enabler. So it should be an enabler to make a good salesperson superhuman by getting AI to do the mundane things where, a human can leverage that type of product and service for, and leave the human connection and selling and getting onto a call and closing the deal up to a human itself and getting you doing more of that. So it's that ongoing learning approach. If we look at it as a bit of a triangle, you've got the playbook building process, then you've got the implementation, and then you've got the ongoing coaching and training. Yeah. That's sort of the three-prong approach that we take to Sales OS at Grow Forum.
Yeah. And in terms of your customer base, is everyone open to that three-pronged approach? Or do you have some where they're saying, just give me the software, I don't need anything else, I'm quite smart, I can work it out on my own? Or have you cultivated a customer base, your ideal customer profile, to say the people know that it is always about the continuous learning, it's always about the opportunity to get better, work out the strategies that are going to work best in that circumstance and situation?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? So and I hate answering it with this term, but it depends.
Yeah.
It depends on what they've got. So sometimes a founder would think, hey, I don't have the time, I don't need the course element, I just want you to coach me on X, Y, Z. Yeah. And sometimes we've gone, okay, cool, come in and let's review it. And then as we're coaching and guiding them through, we're like, okay, well, you're missing this, you're missing X, you're missing Y. You need to go through the course. You need to go through the program because it's clear that you've got some bits and pieces of a playbook, but you're missing so much.
Yeah.
Yes, you've got your ICP and it's okay, or your buyer persona and you've got some messaging, but it needs to be more robust. And this is why you're not getting cut through. So go through the program. So some you need to, guide them along the way. Some you need to prescribe them, say, no, you need to go through this.
Yeah.
Some just want to throw their team in and think, it's the team is the problem, but really it's the founder because they haven't enabled them to do so.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is the team. Yeah. They got some people there who think they know everything, don't want to learn, and they're the ones that aren't performing. So you're dealing with people a lot of the time, right? All the time. So it's very nuanced, and emotion can come into play. So we're just like, okay, this is where when we have a call with someone before they join our program, we're interviewing them whether we think they're a right fit for us.
Yes.
Because we just don't let anyone into the program. We want to make sure that, yep, you're the right type of person. You're going to come with the right energy. You want to put in the work because there is work to be done. You're not just handing over to an agency per se to go do everything for you. Yeah. And so we want to make sure that they're going to get the value. They're investing, some serious, dollars into the program. So we want to make sure you're going to get a 10x return minimum. Yeah. And once we can tick those boxes, then it's like, great, let's get you in, let's onboard you, and let's get rubber to hit the road as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And we sort of condense things where if they've got an urgency type matter where they're trying to raise funds for the business, then we're like, okay, go through this program, build your first version of Playbook within a day. Get us involved. Let's go back and forth, and then let's execute. Let's start reaching out to your customers, and let's start getting some feedback quickly. Others have time, and they do it over a 2-week process because they've got 1,000 different priorities, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So we sort of condense it down where if you do X amount of time, this is how quickly you can get going. And for us, it's about you've got 12 months in the program, and then if you want to continue, great. But you've got 12 months in the program. We want the majority of those 12 months to be about execution and building out your pipeline and closing deals. Yeah. So let's try and get through the playbook. Let's not rush it. Let's get through it quickly, prescribed with the templates and resources that we give you. And then let's make iterations as we test it live in market.
Yeah. And it's a really solid start to the relationship
Mm.
at the same time as well. When you have that, you know, reciprocating conversation to say, just to be clear, both of us are interviewing each other here, you
Yeah.
know, so if it doesn't become a good fit, you know, you're just not ready, we can't see you, you know, adapting your practices to what we know is proven technology and methodology that's going to give you the success, we should probably just leave it. You weed those people out, but then the other people that are maybe even experiencing some resistance, you've started with a, you know, that foundation, as I say, to be able to say, you know, I haven't had that experience before. You know, I thought you were desperate to sell, but you were actually desperate for a fit, so that
Yeah.
you can have, I can have success, you can have success, and then collectively there's a success story there at the same time. That's very, very powerful. So reflecting on the experiences that you had with Locomote and with Growth Forum, like what's one major challenge you personally faced? We did talk about, you know, your rubbishness at celebrating the wins a wee bit earlier there, but what you faced as a founder, and how did overcoming them shape your approach to your business resilience today?
Yeah, I think it's one of the things reflecting about letting go. So when do you let go of a certain role, responsibility, task within the business versus what do you know keep hold of
Yeah,
and keep under your realm? So I'll never forget during the first time of Locomote, you know, my you know bread and butter and what I'm great at is the sales and marketing.
yeah,
And when we got the investment, we were sort of you know pushed to build a team, which is you know typically the right thing to do, and to you know give a lot of responsibility to those individuals.
yeah,
Um, Hindsight, I probably would have stayed closer to the customer and stayed on the forefront of selling, you know, in the
right,
trenches because that's where I was getting great results.
mhm,
And that way, I could lead and show the way to the new people who will bring it into the team. You know, this is what good looks like, and
yeah,
how we should model ourselves to sell. Um, that's where I've brought into you know into Growth Forum, where Luigi and I, yes, we're you know the co-founders and whatnot, but we're still selling. We're still
yeah,
at the forefront and in the trenches, and practicing what we preach, you know, to our community and to our members. We do the cold calls ourselves. You know, we do all that, so we understand really when people
yeah,
say, "Oh, I cringe at you know picking up a cold call." We're like, "Cool, yeah, I get it." Like, I don't. For me, I don't love it, but I love the fact that when I connect with the right person, it resonates and it helps them, and we can help them achieve their goals. Like,
yeah,
isn't that a cool thing?
yeah,
So I think the resilience factor has not been pushed away because that is the right thing to do to get people under you. It's great for you to stay in your zone of excellence
yeah,
and what gives you energy and what
yes,
drives you, and then get people to take on the responsibilities and roles for the things that drain you,
yeah,
that make you sort of dislike getting out of bed.
yeah,
We all live short lives,
yeah,
right? So why would you want to get out of bed and then work on your business on something that you actually hate doing? Like,
yeah,
that's a pretty miserable, being, right? So if you can
yeah,
focus majority of your time, because it's never 100% of your time,
yeah,
on doing things that drive energy and that just light you up, then, working 2 hours within the business, or sorry, working a day in the business will feel like 2 hours.
yeah,
I have to switch off now because I coach my daughter's football team, soccer,
yeah,
depending on where you're listening.
yeah,
So, like, I've got a hard cut off. Otherwise, I could work 24 hours in Growth Farm because everything that I do just gives me energy, and I love it.
yeah,
But you do need to switch off. So,
yeah,
yeah, I think it was that learning that experience there. And I've written about that particular item before about letting go, what to let go and what not to.
yeah,
Um, it can be hard. And I think it's something you have to experience,
yeah,
you know, before you really know. It's like you got
yeah,
to go through that pain to then understand, that's what that meant.
yeah,
Um, and I'll never forget when we sold Locomote the first time. Um, people talk about it a lot, but then your self identity is tied to the business.
yeah,
It's quote unquote your baby
yeah,
that you've built. over X amount of time. You put blood, sweat, and tears into it. Gone, the roller coaster ride of the highs and the lows, and it feels like you've been in a tornado at times. So it's that crazy squiggly line through to success if you had it, and majority of people, unfortunately, don't get to experience that. There was that. I reckon I got depressed during that time because I felt like I was David from Locomote, right? I had this thing, and now I'm David with nothing. We did some investing. We had a successful exit. To the public eye, it was all amazing and rainbows and roses, but I didn't have that thing there that I was building. I love building things. Yeah. So there was a bit of, and compounded by, that was the start of COVID. So like you couldn't really go out and network and connect to find that next thing on what you want to do. It was a tough and challenging time. So it's important for us as founders and business owners to try not to get our identity too tied to what we're working on, because what you're working on will change. It will go. And it wasn't until, doing a bit of hindsight and talking to a few fellow founders that sort of self-prescribed that, it was a bit of a depression stage because I didn't have that thing outside of my family, which obviously provided a lot of drive, but I didn't have that thing that I was building for myself and for the family that was giving me that extra energy.
Yeah. So many lessons there. Initially, I know you said you had to experience it, the initial time to be able to set yourself up for success for the next time, but there probably are some things for people considering being a founder or someone who's just net new to founding to say, in an ideal world, let's talk about the perfect day 2 years from now when the business is ticking over. Where do you see yourself in the business? What parts do you like just now, or what parts do you think you like, and what parts don't you like? Because some people might make a completely natural transition away from the grind and the coal face to somewhere where they're whiteboarding, they're strategizing, they're networking, they're learning, whatever it is that floats their boat. But others might be kind of like, I never want to be stuck in a meeting. I never want to be away from a window. I would rather be outside, whatever it looks like. So there's probably at least a little bit of prior preparation to say, in an ideal scenario, this is what I think right now, and then consistently revisit that as you're going forward. Am I moving further away from that? Am I moving closer to this? Is that okay? If not, why not? What am I going to do about that? I mean, that's so powerful. And then secondly, the human element of business, as you said, by business standards, it looks like a rip-roaring success, notwithstanding COVID or, all the dangers and challenges that were coming. But, you built a business, you went on the squiggly line to getting to success, you had a graceful, successful exit. But there's human beings behind this, where you're kind of like, what next? I mean, I'm a sports fan. I love Glasgow Rangers is my team, and most people who know me know that. And as I've aged, certainly as a younger guy, it was just all stupidity. But as I've aged, and I used to have many debates with my dad about this. My dad, when he was alive, he would be like, he gets £40,000 a week. He should know how to kick it to a guy in a blue jersey. And I'm saying he's a human being. Like, it doesn't work like that. Some days you have great days and some days you have bad days. Some days you're in the flow, in the zone. And other days you're like, I feel like I've never played this game before. I don't know what it is. And that's the beauty of sport, and it's the same in life and business and such at the same time. So, the reason I emphasize that, David, I think is probably a fantastic lesson for people listening to this, to say, I could probably do some pre-work here to speak to founders prior to, and whether a sale is in your goals or not, it might and sometimes be forced upon you, or you don't know how circumstances may change. But how did you do that? Just in advance, is there anything I could be doing to leaning into that? Looking definitely a little bit further afield and things like that.
Yeah, no, that was great. Like, there's a couple of things, right? There's one little exercise that you can do, and that's, to take it back to what gives you energy, is to design your perfect day, right? Just to draw down a piece of paper. When I wake up, I'm going to do X. I'm going to work on Y. After that, I'm going to have my break around here, go for a walk, then get back into it, have lunch. Then it might be yep, I've got, coaching of my kids' sports. And then once dinner's done, I'm going to wrap up the day and plan for the next day. And that's the ideal day that you love. And if you can do that, most of the time, then you're driving energy. And you try and stick to that as much as you can, even though, it's near impossible to. But you've got it architected there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The second thing about, talking with other founders, the beauty is within this day and age, there's a plethora of different sort of communities out there that are founder-led.
Yeah.
One that I'm personally in and lean into a lot is an organization called Entrepreneurs Organization. They've got chapters all over the world. So I'm in EO Melbourne. I'm in a what's called a forum that has 8 to 10 other founders, non-competing businesses. And it's amazing because you talk about the three key things. So your business, family, and your personal.
Yeah.
And the setup for it is to go beyond the surface level. So it's about trying to get to that 5%, the stuff that you might not even tell your partner about, whether it be about the business, because you've got other business owners there that can understand what you're going through. Your personal, which might be about yourself and your partner and kids. And then you have other fathers, mothers within your forum that you can lean on and get really raw experience shares with. And then, it's such a, being open in those sort of safe environments can really help you, where you found your people, and you can lean in on, leverage off in the right way, and also share. Like, they become part of your family. Like, we're in a WhatsApp group, and it goes off, so I have to mute it. But people are just asking for, I need help with X. Bang, other founders are just giving their best contacts to help with X. And it's been from a range of things, from SEO agencies to family psychologists, right? So it's been from every walk of life to, I'm buying a house, who's a good buyer's agent, and it's like, here, talk to this person, they're great, they're a weapon. And so you're getting the best of the best from that. So find what works for you, whether it's an EO type organization itself or something similar, where there's other people like you that you can bounce off and help each other. That's been a key. Like, I've been in EO for 8 years, and don't know if I ever exit from it, because it's just something that provides a lot of value.
Yeah, and I'm sure you provide a lot of value to it as well.
And you're giving your guidance. Well, and it's all based on experiences shares, right? So it's not no advice giving. I think you should do X, or I think you should do Y, or that's crap, why are you doing that? Do this. It's, I had a similar situation, and this is what I did, and this is how I approached it, and this is blah, 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 blah. So it's all based on your experiences. And you might, if you not have experienced something, you might have a close relative, friend, family that's experienced what your forum buddy has gone through. So then you can share that experience. But it's never advice giving. They've got a real nice framework around it that just really works. Hence why they've got, I don't even know how many members, like 30,000 plus members across the globe. Yeah. It's a good business in itself, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is. So this is the Best You podcast, as you know, which is all about giving people information, ideas, inspiration to become the best version of themselves. What's one practice that you employ that allows you to be the best version of yourself?
Exercise. It's a non-negotiable. I'm the type of person where if I don't exercise and don't eat well, I'll blow up into Augustus Galump there from Willy Wonka. So I need to exercise, and I love it. If I'm doing early calls such as this, I'll move the time of day that I'll do the exercising in. But it's a non-negotiable. I can tell, and I track everything, but I can tell just physically when I've exercised, those days I have more energy than the days I don't.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So before I let you go, David, where can people find out more about you?
Yep. So reach out to me on LinkedIn. just David Fastuca. I'd love to connect with you there. I'm very active on LinkedIn. We're also, as this podcast airs, we've got our book that is live. So if you'd love to, I'd love for you to go check it out, and leave an honest review as well. And for those that do, and you let me know, I'll hit me up on LinkedIn and I'll send you a free audio version of it as well. So all the links will be obviously in this podcast where you can go grab it. But basically, Luigi and I have put our life's learnings into this book over a year and a half. It's effectively our whole sales OS program condensed into a book with all the tools, templates. We basically just give it all away because we just want this book to have a crazy impact on the founder community and also sellers. There's just gold everywhere in that book. So if it does spark an interest, please do check it out and let me know what you think.
Fabulous. Thanks again, David. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Gary. It's been awesome.
Hello again. Thanks again for tuning in to this episode, and I do hope that you found it valuable and gained some insights. I do have an ask for you. If you enjoyed this podcast, I would absolutely love it if you would connect with me on my socials, and that's at LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search for my name and do whatever it is you need to do there to follow me and stay updated with all the latest content, tips, and discussions. And for any more resources that you're looking for, feel free to visit my website, garygillen.com. And while you're there, you can book a free, no obligation 30-minute coaching call directly with me through the site. Whether you're looking to enhance your performance or tackle a new challenge, I'm absolutely here to help you succeed, and I would absolutely love to hear from you. Thanks very much again, and until next time, keep pushing towards your goals and getting better each and every day, my friend.